I was Hanny but Rico from StreetScores, and the Washington Commanders just, maybe not necessarily accidentally, but they just gave us a huge clue as to whether Jayden Daniels will start versus the Chicago Bears Sunday, October 27th. At 4:30 p.m. We're going to dive into what that clue is and what it exactly means. We're going to take a look at it from an optimistic point of view and a pessimistic point of view, just in case. Also, I have an update for the current state of the wide receiver trade market right now. ESPN came out with an article and explained exactly which wide receivers are actually available and are being shopped by their current teams to other NFL teams right now. So we're going to take a look at what that market is and which guys the Commanders should probably go after. But before we dive into all of that, first of all, you need to know that this video is sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Y'all already know. But before we get into everything, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you pull up because I will be live streaming this upcoming Bears game, of course, and you know I'm going to come with a big time review video. And as promised, if we beat the Bears, we will go ahead and do that call-in live show immediately after the game. We'll just keep it on the same stream that we had up while we were watching the game together and breaking it down, play-by-play analysis, all of that type of stuff. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Pull up tomorrow. Well, by the time most of y'all are watching this, later on today for that game. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this video, man. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so the Washington Commanders apparently did not elevate anybody from the practice squad leading up to this upcoming game against the Bears. I saw the report directly from Nikki Javala first. She said the Commanders did not elevate anyone from the practice squad and did not make any changes to the injury report ahead of Sunday's game against the Bears. But the most important part of that is that nobody was elevated from the practice squad. Nobody. Read into it as you will, but Jayden Daniels, who is questionable with a rib injury, has a chance to play because of that. Because even just more specifically to the fact that we didn't upgrade anybody from the practice squad, the Commanders did not elevate quarterback 4 Sam Hartman from the practice squad, which is potentially a good sign for Jayden Daniels, who again is questionable with a rib injury moving up to this game. So Sam Hartman remains on the practice squad. So we have 3 quarterbacks actually on the 53-man roster that are available for this game against the Browns. Jayden Daniels, Marcus Mariota, and Jeff Driscoll per usual. If that Jayden Daniels injury was that bad, then they probably would have at least brought up Sam Hartman just in case so that they can have 3 quarterbacks that are available to play. The fact that they feel like Jayden Daniels is one of the 3 quarterbacks that can play, that's very encouraging going into this game. But I also know some people are saying that their emergency quarterback rule means that they don't really have to upgrade a quarterback from the practice squad. But no, that's actually wrong. You actually do need to elevate a quarterback from the practice squad onto the 53-man roster. Even the emergency third quarterback has to be a part of the active 53-man roster. You can't just be from the practice squad and step into that game against the Bears if we ever get to the point where we need a third quarterback. You can't do that. I know that third emergency quarterback rule has helped teams out a lot when it comes to quarterback injuries, but it doesn't stretch that far to where you could just play from the practice squad. You have to at least be on the 53-man roster. And again, we didn't upgrade anybody, most notably Sam Hartman, from the practice squad. But at the same time, the Commanders could pull a fast one and start like Marcus Mariota and then have Jayden Daniels as like the emergency quarterback instead of it being Jeff Driscoll. So maybe like Marcus Mariota number 1, Jeff Driscoll number 2, and Jayden Daniels third, maybe? Because I believe the Steelers did something like that earlier this year when Justin Fields was a starter and then Russell Wilson was the emergency quarterback just in case. I believe the Steelers did that earlier this year. Either way, though, going to the ESPN article written by John Com, he dove into like a little bit more detail as to what Jayden Daniels has been doing this week leading up, and then like the practice on Friday where they really pushed it. He said Daniels did not participate in practice during the approximately 20 minutes open to the media on Friday. During that part of time, the 4 quarterbacks were working inside the team's practice bubble while the rest of the players were outside stretching and going through individual drills. But the other 3 quarterbacks, Marcus Mariota, Jeff Driscoll, and Sam Hartman, all arrived to the field before the opening viewing ended. And so that's why a lot of people were panicking and saying, well, Jayden Daniels is not out there with the other 3 quarterbacks. What's going on? And apparently Mariota and Driscoll were participating in the team's customary Friday red zone passing reps. However, Quinn said during this period, Daniels was inside working on strengthening and conditioning his core area specifically, and he later joined the session for full team drills like I already reported to y'all yesterday. Quinn said there were no limitations on Daniels on Friday, and he called it a good day for his rookie passer. When he was at practice, Quinn said that they tested his ability to scramble and make throws, as well as all of his sudden movements versus blitz or other pressures and things like that. So they really tested him. They really sent everything they could at him to try their best to simulate like what could actually really happen in a real game. They tried to throw as much real game scenario stuff at him as possible so that they could really test whether his movements reacting to certain things will be restricted or not, or just straight up too painful for him. And they obviously haven't come out and just straight up said like out loud to the media how it exactly went against. Dan Quinn said that his quarterback looked good, but we don't exactly know what that means. So we don't know if they had to stop the practice because he couldn't handle it, or if he just went through business as usual and balled out in practice. Nobody outside of the Commanders, players, coaching staff, or front office actually really know. And it's crazy because we're about to find out in about 16 hours. So you're going to find out within less than a day by the time that Bears game starts. So make sure y'all buckle up and get ready, man, because these next 16 hours, whether you're sleeping or not, it's about to be pretty stressful. And because even if you're on the side of the people that's like, just sit Jayden Daniels, it's not even worth it. If he's even 95%, that 5% is enough for some people to feel like he shouldn't play against the Bears. And then so those people are going to be nervous about the fact that maybe there actually is a better chance of Jayden Daniels playing in this game than a lot of people think. And then of course the side that wants Jayden Daniels to play, of course there's a certain level of nerves there about, well, will he play or not? We really want to beat the Bears. They've been like the most trash talking fan base I've experienced on the internet in a while, like outside of college football, of course, because it doesn't get any more treacherous than the college football trash talking that goes on, especially on Twitter. But like NFL wise, I don't even remember seeing Cowboys fans be this annoying and petty as Bears fans have been towards us the past couple of weeks. So I know a lot of fans, just even from that alone, just really want to beat the Bears so bad. Wouldn't it be just absolutely sweet that if Jayden Daniels doesn't play, we still beat the Bears with Marcus Mariota? That is the ultimate trash talking ammo right there towards those Bears fans. But all I care about, whether Jayden Daniels or Marcus Mariota plays, we beat the Bears, please. But most importantly, priority number one is Jayden Daniels' long-term health. So it's just completely based on factors that me as in Rico of StreetScores are not privy to right now. How healthy Jayden Daniels is, how much pain is he in, and things like that. If he's great to go and it's just another game and maybe there's like a slight amount of pain, but it's nothing we have to worry about necessarily him making worse long term from playing against the Bears, then for sure play him. But if there's any risk to, like, he's hurt right now, and if you throw him out there against the Bears, there's a chance that he could get hurt even worse and it could be even longer term, maybe you may not just want to go ahead and play him. I want to beat the Bears so bad, but it's not worth jeopardizing not only just Jayden Daniels' 2024 season and the chances that we have of, even making some real noise in the playoffs this year, but especially long-term career-wise, because we're trying to win Super Bowls here, man. We're not just trying to beat the Bears to shut them up. That would be lovely, but that's not priority number one. Now, before we move on to the second half of this video, y'all already know I gotta let y'all know that this show is provided by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, man. If you're looking for a new sportsbook, it should be BetUS for sure. First of all, they have the fastest payouts in the industry, and I know y'all want y'all money fast. I know I do, and I know we think alike. Great minds think alike. And right now, BetUS is offering you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits for up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. That's YOUTUBE150. They also have a fast and easy deposit and withdrawal process, so it's really like, why not? Now let's take a look at some actual bets we can get into directly through their website. Well, let's revisit this MVP race right now, because with Jayden Daniels hurt, and of course a lot of people are in the dark as to whether he'll play or not. People are looking at Vegas odds to see if he'll play, but of course if there's a chance that he may not play, or if there's a chance that maybe this injury lingers a little while and he may not be able to play at the level that he did the first 7 weeks, then a lot of people are feeling like, hey man, maybe we need to decrease these odds of Jayden Daniels potentially winning MVP. If you still feel like he can win MVP, this is a good time to get in on it, because his odds were starting starting to skyrocket. It was starting to get more and more likely, which means you make less and less money from betting that he will win MVP. Now, after the injury that he's dealing with, the rib injury, of course, a lot of it, pretty much everybody's in the dark, even in Vegas with a lot of these things. And so now they're starting to decrease the odds, which means more money that you can make. Right now, he's a plus 2,500. So now guys like Brock Purdy have more likely odds to win MVP than him. Jalen Hurts caught up. Now he's tied for Jayden Daniels at plus 2,500. A lot of these other quarterbacks have a bigger lead than Jayden Daniels as far as the odds go now. So with plus 2,500 odds, if you were to put $100 down on this today, as you're watching this video, you could end up winning $2,500 by the end of the season. You'll put $100 on this, forget about it, and next thing you know, you're $2,500 richer because Jayden Daniels went out there, recovered from this injury, and we just put it in the past and act like it never happened because he keeps balling out. It's not a long-term issue or anything like that. He ends up winning MVP by the end of the season, and now you're $2,500 richer. But even if you don't want to take it that far, if you don't want to even put on that much of a risk, let's say you just want to put a quick $10 on it, you could be $250 richer by the end of the season if Jayden Daniels ends up winning MVP. $10 isn't a lot of money, and that's a lot of money you can end up winning in return. But I'ma always scream at y'all to please gamble responsibly, man. This is a great bet, but please gamble responsibly. I'm always going to emphasize that. That is first and foremost. And again, right now, BetUS is offering you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and a 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits for up to $2,000 with code YOUTUBE150. You gotta rock with BetUS because StreetScores rocks with BetUS. But now let's go ahead and get to the second half of this video, this wide receiver market. Specifically, the current state of what the wide receiver trade market looks like leading up to the trade deadline. Which wide receivers are actually available? And shouts out to Adam Schefter via ESPN doing an entire breakdown, because right now he said the 2 wide receivers generating the most trade conversations are Deontay Johnson of the Carolina Panthers and Christian Kirk of the Jacksonville Jaguars. His exact tweet was attached with an ESPN article, which we're about to get to. He said, with Sean McVay practically yanking Cooper Kupp off the trade market, so if you wanted Cooper Kupp, just to let you know, doesn't sound very likely. Deontay Johnson and Christian Kirk sound way more likely right now, but who knows? Sean McVay could just be saying that out loud, and maybe they're trying to trade Cooper Kupp behind the scenes. Who knows? But either way, he said teams in search of receiver help now are expected to turn to other targets, and the 2 wide receivers generating the most conversation are Deontay Johnson and Christian Kirk, now especially with Cooper Kupp apparently off the market. We'll see if that actually is true or not. But in his ESPN article that he wrote, he said in the past week, 3 high-profile receivers have been traded. Devontae Adams to the Jets, Amari Cooper to the Bills, and DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs. You could argue that a lot of the best wide receivers that were available have now officially been traded. Now the market is left with lesser receivers that are going to probably even go for less value. Like, those guys set the precedent. Like Devontae Adams going for like a some type of 3rd round pick that's conditional. Amari Cooper going for like a 3rd and a late round swap. DeAndre Hopkins going for a 5th at best, if the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl and D-Hop balls out in the Super Bowl type of thing, plays a certain amount of snaps, that can maybe move up to a 4th. So now with the top receivers already traded for less value than what most people expected, now the guys that are left are probably going to go for even less than that. Like if D-Hop and Amari Cooper and Devontae Adams are going for that, Deontay Johnson and Christian Kirk are going to go for even less than that, which is pretty good news for the Washington Commanders. Right now, the wide receiver trade market, the market's been set. And luckily for the Commanders, we don't have to go higher than that. We only have to go lower, honestly. And so, continuing with the article, more trades are expected. The Panthers already have received multiple inquiries on Johnson, and sources believe Carolina is seeking a mid-round draft pick in return for a player who this season, despite playing in a struggling offense, has 30 receptions for 357 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he's missed a couple of games. Those are some pretty impressive stats. He's been very efficient this year when he has played, but of course, he's also been a locker room cancer, like I talked about in my previous Deontay Johnson video a couple of days ago. This guy just straight up said in the locker room after the loss against us that he just put it on his teammates. He said, I can't do everything around here. Other guys need to step up. Basically clicked like the selfish button answer from NBA 2K, where you get your fans up, but your team chemistry plummets. That's literally the type of answer he gave, where he completely blamed it on the teammates. I don't even believe he took even part of the blame. He said, I can't do everything myself type of thing, which is just crazy. But continuing with the article, some sources believe it's only a question of where where Johnson winds up before the trade deadline, not if. The Panthers 1-6 play in Denver on Sunday and have already ruled out Johnson because of a rib injury. Remember, leading up to our game last week, it was apparent that it was, at least people were saying that he wasn't going to play against it. Then he ended up playing. He got locked down by Mike Sanderstill. Now he's out with a rib injury. Who knows? Maybe that could just be similar to Davante Adams with his sudden mystery hamstring injury that he just pulled up out of nowhere to have an excuse to not to play. Maybe Deontay Johnson's doing the same thing where it's like, I don't even want to play for y'all anymore, man. Just go ahead and trade me. And until then, I'm just going to sit out with a random fake rib injury. Now, granted, maybe he could actually really have a rib injury, but I know Davante Adams pulled a hamstring injury out of nowhere just to basically fake it and say, man, I can't play. I can't play with this hamstring injury. I don't know what to tell you. But either way, continuing with the article, Johnson is 28, not old, and due only $3.5 million for the rest of the season, making him both younger and cheaper than some of the other potential available wide receivers. If the Commanders want to jump on that, those are some positives as to why. Carolina will continue to listen to offers as the trade deadline approaches, but there are some sources who believe that after a flurry of wide receiver trades, Johnson is now the receiver most likely to be moved. And remember, the Commanders tried to sign Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and the only reason, now granted, we run a tight-lipped ship around here, like a really tight-lipped organization, program, like nothing's getting out from our side. The only reason we know that is because Marquez Valdes-Scantling agent put it out there that, hey, he's signing with the Saints, but just to let y'all know, I'm a snitch. The Commanders and some other teams tried to sign him as well. But my main point is the Commanders are trying to get receiver. They tried to sign Marquez Valdes-Scantling on the low, and I guess hoping nobody found out. And then his agent went out there and snitched, I guess, and let everybody found out. I wonder how that goes for like relationship wise with Adam Peters and those guys. Like, man, you blowing up the spot. We trying to get a receiver without anybody knowing we're trying to get a receiver, and now you're making us look desperate out here and things like that. Either way, though, the Washington Commanders, Adam Peters, are apparently definitely looking for a receiver right now. And like I've said in several videos now, if they were just looking for any receiver, they could pull a receiver from another team's practice squad. I mean, they could just go get a random veteran receiver off the couch that's a veteran free agent just sitting around hoping to get called. But no, they waited till Marquez Valdes-Scantling only got released so that they could just create enough cap space to be able to pay Amari Cooper after they traded for him. Because until they released MVS, they literally didn't have enough cap space to make the Amari Cooper trade legal and like actually go through. So after trading for Amari Cooper, they didn't want to, they had to. It just tells you the type of caliber of receiver that MVS still is, at least to the Bills and to other teams. Again, we were one of like reportedly like 5 or 6 teams that were trying to sign him. So the Commanders are in on better receivers than are just available on other teams' practice squads or just sitting on the couch right now. Just to let you know, so that I'm just saying all of that to say that they probably are looking at guys like Deontay Johnson. They're not just looking for any random receiver to sign off the street. Then the article also says other teams are also eyeing Kurt, whose performance this season in Jacksonville has fallen off compared to the past seasons. Should the Jaguars lose Sunday to Green Bay to fall to 2-6, which is quite likely, it might make more likely sense that they would be willing to entertain offers for players such as Christian Kirk. They may go into sell mode. Kirk, 27 years old, 1 year younger than Deontay Johnson, has 25 receptions for 320 yards and 1 touchdown this season, his third with the Jaguars, and he is having a bad season. Like, honestly, if I had to pick between the two, I prefer Deontay Johnson. I believe Christian Kirk is also making way more money right now. Remember, he set the wide receiver market and everybody was looking around like, him? Christian Kirk from Arizona going to the Jaguars and resetting the wide receiver market? Like, but hey, it is what it is. Either way, he continues with the article. The Jets also would be open to trading away veteran wide receiver Mike Williams for the right price, according to league sources. So I guess they feel like they don't necessarily need him now that they've gotten Devontae Adams. And Mike Williams is a tall receiver, and we definitely have a type right now. Maybe we check in on him for like a 7th round pick or something like that. Teams still in need of receiver are thought to be the Steelers and the Chargers, among others. So maybe those are the top 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders are one of those teams as well. And then he finishes with the article with, there had been speculation about whether the Rams would be willing to trade Kupp, but McVay did his best to shut down that conversation after Thursday night's victory over the Vikings. Maybe if they lost to the Vikings, maybe this is a completely different story. Maybe that Vikings win put them into, okay, maybe we can still do something this year. But McVay reiterated his stance on Kupp on Friday morning, saying a trade involving the former NFL Defensive Player of the Year is not a move that we want to make. That's not definitive enough to me. That was an exact quote from him. That's not definitive as if like we're not trading them for sure. No, that's saying we don't want to do it, but hey, man, if we have to, we will maybe. But he also said, quote, he's a Ram and we expect him to stay that way, unquote. quote. So again, just to take their word for now, sounds like Cooper Kupp is off the market, and if the Commanders are really looking for a receiver, Deontay Johnson is probably the most likely, because again, it makes sense for us. A wide receiver with that type of size, he's a really good wide receiver too. He's very cheap right now. He's tired of being on that team. And then on the Panthers side of things, again, based on what Adam Schefter is hearing right now, he's the wide receiver that's being shopped the most. Like, the Carolina Panthers are calling other teams about him, so that may be that type of like mutual match right there for the deal to get done between the Commanders and the Panthers. We'll see though. Of course, I'm gonna keep y'all updated, but that's it so far for the current wide receiver market. If any new names get added, if any of these names get taken off the market, of course I will update y'all on that. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in the video. Please stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Make sure you do not leave this video without leaving a like. And of course, let me know in the comment section at this point, what is your final prediction? Do you think Jayden Daniels will play or not, based on all of the information I've been giving you all throughout the week? And most importantly, this video with the fact that they did not bring up an additional quarterback from the practice squad to be ready to play against the Bears just in case. That's definitely good news, at least long term, for Jayden Daniels. The fact that they don't feel the need to put him on IR, to at least make him inactive going into that game. He's at least, at worst case scenario, one of the 3 quarterbacks that's going to be eligible to play in that game. The only question at this point is, will he start or will he not? Will he be the 3rd quarterback or the 1st? I doubt he'll be the 2nd, but we'll see. Let me know how you feel about the whole situation, and let me know how you also feel about this current wide receiver market. And who do you feel like, out of the names that I didn't include in this video, that you would prefer to target it as far as a wide receiver trade that we can get in on for the Washington Commanders? Put me on to some guys that I may be overlooking right now. So I'm going to try my best to read and reply to as many comments as possible. I really appreciate y'all. I'm going to catch y'all later. I'm out.